Hi, Dave. Thank you for speaking to me today. Could you introduce yourself for our listeners?
Yeah, sure. I'm Dave. I'm from MOT Juice, and I'm an MOT tester.
Okay, brilliant. Dave, we're here today to speak about a recent trial that you've been doing for the DVSA. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so essentially the DVSA are trialling taking photos of every vehicle before it's MOT tested, essentially to try and cut down on fraud, to make sure that the vehicles are actually on site when they're being MOT tested.
Right, so what's the process involved then? Because I'm assuming it's not an easy one, or is it?
It's a doddle.
Right.
It is really, really easy. When they officially announced it, we thought, oh no, it's going to be really hard, it's going to be really cumbersome. But essentially, before every MOT test, when you log on the vehicle for an MOT, it then adds an extra screen, which you just take a picture of a QR code. That will ask for access just to your camera. So it's a live photo. It's not trying to access your camera roll. You take a photo of the vehicle when it's there. Say uploads it, and when you log back onto your MOT, there's a picture of the vehicle there.
And you say when you take a picture of the QR code and it gives access to the camera, that would be the camera on what?
On any smartphone. So you can use it on any smartphone or tablet. You can use your personal one, or most dealerships and most businesses now are coming away from paperwork. So it's more on sort of tablets and stuff like that. So as long as it's got internet access and a camera, you can just use that.
But they are asking you then to use your own equipment for it?
Yes, at the moment, just for the trial, they're not supplying anyone with any sort of tablets or computers. I don't know if that will change in the future, but I think everyone's got a smartphone or a tablet now, and it doesn't take up much storage or anything like that on your phone. So I can't see why you wouldn't use it.
Yeah, you would imagine most people would have a smartphone or a tablet these days. I don't know, you might be surprised.
Yeah, I know. There's probably some tester that's still testing into 75 and just resisting technology as much as he can.
But of course, this is only a trial so far.
Yes, so we don't know what's going to happen for that. The DVSA have actually been quite good with updating us on what's happening. So there's only a selected amount of people that are actually on the trial. And they're probably getting about between 400 and 500 uploads. And it's going pretty well at the moment. So we don't know how that's going to roll out.
So the trial is still ongoing?
It is ongoing. We have spoken to them recently. They haven't given us a date when it's going to be stopped, but at the moment it's not really affecting anything, and it's not taking up too much time when you're doing the MOT. So we're just cracking on with it, really.
So it's quite a seamless transition into it then, because a lot of people will say, oh, it's another thing we have to do, it's another stage, another.
Yes, and you will get all those sort of stages. And as I say, we got a couple of technicians here that were saying that, but after about a couple of days, they stopped moaning about it. So I presume it's okay and pretty easy, to be perfectly honest with you, because if it wasn't, they'd let me know.
Okay, that's a pleasant surprise then.
Yes, it is. It is.
So Dave, how did you get involved in this trial?
So they announced that they were doing the trial, and then they asked anyone that wanted to be part of it if we wanted to put our hand up for it, and we did. And luckily, we were one of the people that got picked for it.
Do you have quite a close relationship with the DVSA?
We do. We do speak to them quite a lot with what we do at MOT Juice, providing training for MOT testers and stations. We're constantly asking them questions about this, that and the other, and anything that new that comes out. We're very interested in doing it. So we put our hands up for anything.
How many MOTs then do you sort of see through an average month?
So this station that we've got here is pretty much stacked out every day. So each ramp will be doing 8 MOTs each, 2 ramps times 5 times the rest of the month. So you're probably looking at around about sort of 200, 250 MOTs a month.
And have you been adding the photos to every single one of those MOTs?
Yes, we have. I mean, there is a button there if you can't upload it. And I think there's only one MOT that we couldn't do, and that was just an issue on the first or second day where one of the technicians got a little bit confused, but we've never had one since then. Okay,
and have you had any feedback yet from the DVSA on the trial?
No, we've just had a little bit of feedback to say everyone's doing it, it's all going well and it's keeping on going. What is interesting is, technicians may not know this, but anyone that runs a VTS will, you get your test logs at the end of the month. There's now an extra filter to say, if you've uploaded an image, which is new, and you can use that to sort of govern how you're managing your workshop. So apart from that, it's going okay.
Okay. So Dave, I mean, why is the government going to all this rigmarole of adding photos to what was a relatively simple test before?
Essentially, fraud. Ghost MOTs are a massive, massive issue within the industry. Essentially, someone just sending all their details to an MOT tester, then quickly logging it on and then charging whoever it is £150, and then they get an MOT, which is not good for road safety and is not good for the DVSA scheme and the MOT testing scheme as a whole. So they're really trying to crack down on that. And I think this system will probably work.
Is there any information on just how big a problem ghost MOTs is currently?
I don't personally know that, but I know the DVSA are very worried about it because the fraud in the MOT testing scheme has always been there since day one. I remember when my dad was in a pub and there was a bloke just with a stack of the old paper ones, and he just used to get a stamp and someone hand over 50 quid and do those. So it's been there since I was a kid.
That's not what inspired you to get into the business.
It isn't, no. And I was vigilante, I want to stop this fraud. No, but I just remember it happening. And I think with the technology that's coming out now, it's becoming harder and harder to try and crack down on that. But I think the DVSA are using technology to try and counteract it and trying to stop this happening.
So they're really, just relying on technology rather than sort of a societal change.
Yes, they're using it again. They're using it to their advantage, and I dare say they're probably going to be putting some AI bits and pieces into there to try and crack down on it even more by sort of this photo was taken at this site at this time and embedding that into the image as well. So it's even harder to get around.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we were discussing on the phone the other day, we did mention some of the flaws in the scheme. So, I mean, what are some of the issues that you think might arise?
At the moment, I think there's only sort of one thing that I can think of that you can do to get around it. I don't really want to give anyone ideas, to be honest with you. But you could, in theory, take a picture of a picture and then that would be that. But if anyone's, especially with AI technology that they could potentially use at the DVSA, they could say, okay, that is a picture of a picture. Yeah. That isn't at that location. You have to take a picture of the vehicle in the actual garage themselves. So if they look into it a little bit further and go, actually, that picture doesn't match the outsides and match everyone else's, they might not be able to catch you straight away, but over time they will eventually weed you out, and that will just be better for the industry, really.
You could go back to the old method of take a picture with today's newspaper next
yes,
to the car.
It would be, yes, like a hostage.
Yeah, exactly. Which is probably how quite a lot of people feel when it comes to dealing with the DVSA.
Yes, I can imagine so. You're quite right.
But so I know we discussed you upload the pictures and it creates a database, but who's checking that? How do you know that the pictures are actually? Because, I mean, there's going to be thousands of pictures being uploaded every month.
It is one thing I did wonder as well. I can't imagine, well, the DVSA, I think, are pretty much understaffed as it is. I can't imagine they're going to stick someone in an office 5 days a week and just get them watching images of Fiats and stuff and just going, oh, yeah, it looks all right. I imagine they're going to employ someone to do that. I think what they're doing at the moment is just to try and get as many people used to the idea, upload as many images as they possibly can, and then probably develop a technology where they can use AI to go, this is a image of a vehicle in the correct place at the correct time in the correct location, and then go from there. At the moment with the trial, I think they're just gathering data and just making sure their systems work and they can, their IP addresses and their storage systems can withstand the amount of images that are coming in at this stage. I dare say this will just be the very, very start of it. They'll put loads more into it as well.
Yeah, because with the size of pictures these days from modern smartphones, I mean, that was going to take a huge database.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the amount of pixels that can be in a sort of very latest iPhone, there's going to be so much data in there. And I think it'll actually be quite good, and it will probably develop a bit more and help testers. And this would actually be a really good selling point for the DVSA, where they can actually say, look, this number plate would be read on an ANPR camera because they put that technology in the image, and go, MOT tester, the upload was okay, the image is okay, and your number plate's all right. So that's the worst thing for an MOT tester. When you've got an everyday registration plate come in, it's not a problem. When something's a bit different comes in, everyone goes, oh, actually, is that all right? I'm not too sure. Let me ask Jeff.
Yeah.
See if he knows, would he pass this or not?
So would that be like a customised plate, something like that?
Yeah, customised plate or a private plate. If you've got one of those come in, go, actually, I'm not too sure. If the image that you've uploaded goes, actually, number plate's all right, that would help a lot.
Yeah.
And it'd be a really good selling point for the DVSA to testers.
Yeah, interesting. And I guess, I mean, there is also a flaw, is there not, that if you did decide to do a fraudulent MOT, that's a pretty good way to work out whether you're being caught or not, because if you upload a wrong picture and no one checks up on it, no one comes back to you.
Yes, I mean, and there is that. I mean, straight away, I think if you got away with sort of one or two, you might try and do a couple more. But I think with this over time, they'll hone down on it a bit more, and it will only be a matter of time before you actually get caught. I'm pretty sure the DVSA have got a very good idea who they think's a bit dodgy, so they'll probably target on them most and go, actually, why are you not uploading pictures? Why are these pictures all looking a bit funny? And then once they've got the majority of those people out of the way, then they'll start going on to everyone.
Do you worry that there might come a situation, though, where perfectly legitimate testers are being penalised because the photo is out of focus, or they've taken, they've left out the left tyre or something like that?
It will probably come up on a tester's TQI, actually. So every month the tester gets their information about their failures on brakes, wipers, suspension, those type of things. So it might just be an extra box on their thing. So, by the way, you did 50 MOTs, you only uploaded 47 pictures. What's going on? Please have a look into that. And that would probably be down to the site and the site managers to try and police that first of all. But if it's an habitual thing, then they might go down a little bit harder on testers and go, actually, you need to do this at the moment. But then they'd need to put stuff in the testing guide for a disciplinary sort of thing. You are not uploading the correct picture in the correct way, 3 points or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that would just go over time. So potentially it will happen, but we're not at that stage yet because we're just at a trial.
But Dave, you sound quite confident about it. I'm getting the impression you think it's a good idea.
It's a really, really good idea. And I'm more surprised that it actually works, to be perfectly honest with you, because I was so sceptical, and they were sort of talking about sticking cameras in every single MOT bay, and you're just like, logistically, that's not going to happen. You've got sites that are just going from MOT to MOT and not making that much money. They're not going to invest £2,000 to update cameras just so you can spy on them. Yeah. But it's actually a very, very clever, simple solution to a very big fraudulent problem. And I think it's just really going to help everyone, to be honest.
Remarkable.
So, yeah, I'm surprised as the next man, to be honest.
But it's good to hear a common sense solution that people have been suggesting for years. And the DVSA has listened and trialled it. And how many people are they trialling it with at the moment?
I'm not too sure, but they are, as I say, they've said that they've done it between sort of 400 and 500 images a day. So you'd probably be saying there's probably about, 40, 50 garages that are using it.
Okay.
So
not huge numbers yet.
Not huge numbers, but I think they're targeting on specifically very good garages with very good reputation, very well known to the DVSA and got a very good relationship there. And also ones that are busy, because there's no point putting someone on a trial when they're only doing one MOT test every 2 days. The ones that they've picked are going to be...
You need a good throughput.
You do need a good...
MOTs.
Because otherwise you won't know how many, whether it works or not.
Well, Dave, when it comes to fraud, usually wherever there's a will, there is a way. Are there any other measures that the DVSA should be looking at putting in place?
The only thing I probably would say is probably more employment within the DVSA to go out and do more site visits. They've already put out this thing recently where they're going to be doing over the phone site audits, which kind of gets all the office stuff out of the way. And when a VE comes in, they're not spending a lot of time in offices digging through paperwork. They're actually spending time in the workshops, understanding the testers, understanding the processes and the pitfalls that they're coming up against and the issues that they're dealing with, and trying to sort those out, which is, again, another good thing that's currently coming out from I feel like a DVSA lover. I'm not. But so those sort of things, this sort of spending more time with technicians in the workshop like they used to, I think would crack down a little bit more and realise that people are going, I've not had a visit in 3 years. People are going, actually, I'm probably going to get a visit within the next year. I can't sort of brush this under the carpet.
And you mentioned like they used to. So what's changed? Has the quality of the VE changed?
Well, no, I think they changed it in, I think, 2015, where the DVSA, or VOSA as it was, did all the training for the MOT testers. So everyone's standard was sort of at the same sort of level, and all the training that was coming out was to the same as everyone. Then they went away to where they're saying you can do your own training. And then with that, you get some trainers that are very good, like MOT Juice, and you get some that are not so good, or explaining stuff in a different way, or just letting testers just read the manual and try and go through the exam at the end of the year. And if they get through it, then they get through it, sort of thing. So the levels are definitely changing with that. But if you've got a VE on site and more present, able to ask the questions, able to get those relationships back together, that would really help, and does really help.
They basically just need to get a bit more hands-on.
They do, yeah. I mean, most MOT testers just want a little bit of love and just put their arm around them. Yeah, you're doing the right thing. Tweak this, tweak that, and we'll be all right. They just really need guidance rather than just dreading a VE come in because he's just going to moan at me, tell me I'm doing it wrong, give me a few points and then leave. I think this approach is probably and hopefully going to be better.
Because there used to be a bit more of a personal relationship, right? With your
There
VE.
did. Everyone kind of knew their VE, and they walked in and they'd be like, "You're right, Steve," and you make a cup of tea and you'd have a little bit of a chat and you'd talk about the football, and then you'd understand what was going on, and you could have that honest conversation. What's going on? What's happening in the area? What are you guys looking out for? And then you could go, "All right, okay, brilliant." And you could have that sort of together and sort of
share information
and just understand. And you occasionally, back when I was sort of working in sort of South Croydon, we were quite close to the Mitcham Vosa site, so they were always coming in and stuff like that, and be like, "Oh, by the way, this is happening at the moment," or testers are getting picked up on this because they're not testing it right. Just make sure it's not you. And that sort of thing, you got more respect, and you did, because no tester comes in and says, "I just want to completely," well, there are some that are trying to scam the system, but 99.9% of them are just coming in, just trying to do the best job that they possibly can. And if they feel like they've got the support from the VE and the DVSA, then that would go a lot better.
Yeah, excellent. I think I agree. Just lastly, then, Dave, are you aware of any other sort of changes or trials coming down the line from the DVSA?
There's stuff happening all the time. I think we already spoke about a few of them, but they're constantly doing surveys, and they're constantly doing. So they're constantly doing surveys, and they're constantly wanting to try and improve with sort of things. So there's a few at the moment. They put out a thing not too long ago about recalls on vehicles, where they're going to see if they can try to make them an MOT failure item. I think it's a silly idea, and I hope someone relooks at that. But again, they are asking the people before then. There's another sort of trial that's going to come out and a survey next week that I'm part of. I don't know too much about it, but it's about entering brake readings into the NTS system to see how that one goes. So I don't know too much about that, but they are doing stuff, and I think it is trying to change and progress and grow. And they did say about 6 months ago they're putting AI into the MOT testing scheme. So I don't know where where they can do that with. And I don't know if they're going to do that with the connected equipment on roller brake testers and emissions, but that might be something for the future. But it does look like they're trying to get more into the workshops and trying to improve road safety and make sure that we're testing properly.
It's all going in the right direction then.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm so surprised.
Well, Dave, when you find out more about the brake testers, do let us know.
Of course I will.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Superb.